So Paul joined the academy on the 25th of February last year, and since then he has made an incredible amount of progress very, very quickly. He has gone on to launch, I believe, I mean, he'll probably correct me, he's gone on to launch at least 3 or 4 products, and he did that in, basically one after the other. I think some were actually concurrent, if anything, but he absolutely has smashed it. He won the 10K award in August 2021. And then, his growth has just continued to basically multiply. It's gone up exponentially. And in December, so just a few months after he got the 10K Club Award, he made the amazing post in the group, which basically said, I've hit 100K. And he shared a ton of really, really useful tips and tricks, which I'm going to get him to share today. So without further ado, let's bring on the main man himself, Paul. So, hi, Paul. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can, yeah.
I can. Brilliant. It's a bit delayed there. Welcome, Paul. It's great to have you on. Before we kind of, learn a bit more about you, I did just want to say in person, a massive congratulations for cracking that 100K club. I mean, you did it so quickly that I didn't even have time to interview you for the 10K club. So well done. You kind of got out of doing 2 interviews there. But yeah, how did it feel then to reach that, amazing milestone of 100,000 in sales?
Yeah, I can't deny it. It's an incredible feeling. But probably what made it even more incredible for me was I kind of set that target and couldn't believe that I actually hit it and did and just I think when you set a target and you're that determined. And then you hit it. It's very kind of sort of satisfying, and it kind of shows you must be doing something right.
Or yeah, and you definitely are. You're definitely doing lots of things right, and I'm really looking forward to learning about all those things that you're doing right in this session. But before we kind of delve into your tips and tricks and your secret strategies, which I'm dying to learn about. I do often say this on these sessions, and I said this earlier. You and I have exchanged tons of emails throughout your time as a member of the Smashers Academy, but I've never really, learned about who Paul is, where Paul came from, and I suppose your motivations for where you are today. So, yeah, like what's the background to you, Paul? Where do you, where do you come from?
Well, I live in Sussex. Not originally from here, but this is where I've sort of settled. I got a bit of a slightly different path. I joined the army straight from school. Did 11 years in the army. All I wanted to do at 16 was kind of travel the world and have fun and enjoy life and play sport and things like that. So that's what I did, and ended up in construction after that. Had a sort of successful year in construction, successful career in construction. Got to sort of director level and the stress and everything that goes with it and stuff. I thought this got to be a better thing to do than this. So I think it was just before COVID hit, I left my well-paid job to try and go it alone and do something for myself. Started up a couple of businesses. So this was February, March 2020. Started up a couple of businesses and they were doing okay, and they were kind of sort of all right, but I wasn't feeling really fulfilled by it, and it wasn't really what I think I wanted to do. And interestingly, I heard about Amazon through my partner back in 2019, who was not very happy in her work, but needed something she could do whilst looking after her children as a single parent and whatever else. And I knew a little bit about Amazon, but not a lot. So I started looking into it myself for her, and sort of proposed it to her and said maybe we could jump in this together, and I could sort of put some money up front and we could maybe do it. But and I think as anyone that started doing it, it is a massive undertaking, and it takes a hell of a lot of sort of guts and determination and risk to kind of take this on and do it, and especially going into the unknown and having no knowledge of it whatsoever, and a totally new kind of, it's not like you're branching off in something you already know a little bit about. It's kind of going in totally fresh and having to learn everything. And I think she probably thought that's a bit too much, so I sort of didn't think any more of it. And then after maybe, I can't remember that long actually, not long, sort of thinking about starting my own business and getting into that, I realized I wasn't sort of going to enjoy this, and maybe the Amazon space was what I wanted to go into. Yeah, I had a little bit of experience. I didn't realize until recently when I thought about it. When I was in my 20s, I was doing retail arbitrage, as it's called now, which I didn't.
But you didn't know it as that.
No. So
Oh, really?
I was going into Dixon's and buying stereos that were cheap
Flipping.
and then flipping them. Yeah, basically. Yeah, and things
Where were
and
you
little
selling
things
them
like
then?
that. Just little side
Was
hustles.
this on like eBay?
Sorry.
Where were you
No, just
flipping them?
people I
Like,
knew. Just
oh,
people I knew.
really? A
Well,
proper
because I
Del
was
Boy
in the
then?
army, there was people that would get paid, and then but after about 3 days of being paid, they spent all their money on other things. I kind of would take that opportunity to sell them something and then go and buy it cheap and then sell
Yeah.
it back to them or sell it to someone else. So a little bit of kind of retail arbitrage, and I did sort of look into drop shipping, which again was like a bit of a buzz thing back then, but never sort of took it any further. But I've always had something kind of like on the side, if you like,
Like a little
just
side hustle that you enjoy.
yeah,
That's definitely a common trait, I think. It's what you said there sounds very similar to kind of how I grew up, like flipping. If you see something, you kind of look at it as a business opportunity and think, I could
yeah.
buy that and sell it elsewhere and stuff. So yeah, that's all resonating with me. Do you think all that played into how much of a success you've been with Amazon then? Because we spoke about this earlier, didn't we? Where I said that you joined in February and then you were really quick off the mark to be, finding and selecting products to launching, and you, like I said, you cracked that 100K in a record amount of time.
Yeah, I think I have a keen mind for investment, and if it, and it's about, and again it comes down to taking risk. But if you think the risk is worth it, and you think and you can do the numbers and you can see a benefit at the end, and you can see that it's going to work, and you give yourself that foresight, then it gives you the kind of confidence to do it and to push forward. So, but having had that sort of previous experience that we just talked about and others along the way, it definitely gives you that mindset, if you like, to be able to just do it. What have you got to lose? Okay, yes, you might lose a little bit of money, but if you're careful about it and you assess it properly, then you've got everything to gain and more
Yeah.
in terms of experience as well, not just financial or
Yeah,
even to break
absolutely.
even. You're going to learn something from it and benefit from it. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. What was it then that kind of drew you to doing Amazon rather than, I don't know, drop shipping or continuing to do, investing, crypto, whatever? Was there anything about it that, stuck out to you the most?
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, I think that sort of the private label way and developing a brand is much more of a business in my mind. It's probably a business, which is what I wanted, and
Yeah.
I think is scalable. I know other people have had success at scaling, drop shipping, and wholesale and things like that, but I think it's something you can really take ownership to, put your mark on, and really build something from it. And also, I do have sort of an exit strategy as well and a longer term strategy. So I've made a sort of set out to make a plan of what I want to do at 5 years, what I want to do at 10 years. And if you go down the route of wholesale, then you're not really creating something of your own. Once you stop, it stops, or you set, or
Yeah,
someone else does it.
100%, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but with having your own brand that you've sort of developed, taken forward, it's much more scalable and much more sellable as well. And so I've
Yeah.
always got my eye on the long term as well as the short term.
So, well, all right. You've kind of tempted me to ask you this already then. So what is the long-term plan? Are you like looking for a nice big exit, or are you happy to kind of have this as, consistent cash flows for the foreseeable? What's your timeline?
My timeline is at the moment in my mind. I mean, obviously plans can change, but it's a kind of 5 year plan to get it to a level where hopefully it's a multi-million exit, and then maybe start another brand and
Yeah.
do it again,
Yeah.
or maybe have someone run it for me and take something out of the business and start something else. So
Yeah.
I just don't know whether after 5 years, whether you want to keep doing the same thing after 5 years, or you want to try something else
Yeah,
or
you might
branch
try
out in
one
a
new
direction.
challenge or something. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's very similar to me, actually. Like I say, I'm not sure if you were on the session a few months back, but I spoke about how an investor reached out to me and he said it's very similar for most entrepreneurs that, do this. They want to do it for a few years, then they sell it for X amount of money, and then they go on to find, another challenge. The great
yeah,
thing is, I actually saw this week that in terms of multiples of what investors are willing to pay now, it's as high as 10 times like annual
right,
earnings. So you only need to be generating 100 grand profit, which is really achievable with a business model as scalable as Amazon FBA, to get that £1 million valuation to some
yeah,
investors, which
yeah.
is a great thing to like write down and to kind of drill into your head that you could very well be a millionaire from selling this business if you put the work in. But we have kind of just skipped to the end there. Let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way to the very beginning. So can we just kind of walk through your timeline from when you joined to when you found a product, you had your brand idea, etc. Because from when I was looking at my emails earlier and just my own memory, I'm fairly certain that you joined the academy in February, and then you asked me a couple of questions in March or April, and then next thing I know, you've got like product 2 and 3. So there's quite a few holes missing for me. So it'd be great to hear from you, how your timeline played out.
Okay, so I started researching courses in January 21. Decided on your course and I did do a lot of research and looked at lots of courses and different mentors and stuff. Decided on your course, so that was the best fit for me on the 25th of Feb, like you said. I found sort of finding products not too hard, but I think that, in fact, I'll talk about that later. I'll go on with what the question is.
Yeah.
So I'd ordered my first samples. I started ordering for samples within a month. So I had sort of 10, 15 products I was interested in. Ordered samples. I think I ordered about 5 or 6 samples. And then I kind of liked them and I thought they could work, and the numbers stacked up, and everything you teach on the course, they were viable products without a doubt. And I think they could have worked. And if I could have sold them to people as ideas, maybe they would work. Because I looked back on some of them and they did work and they've done really well. But out of the 15 or so products I come up with and the sort of niches they're in, I went with none of them because I was on Alibaba one day, just generally researching, looking at trends and everything else. And I spotted this one product and I thought, oh, that's really, really interesting. It's kind of not what I was looking for, the line I was going down, but interesting. And I looked on Amazon and didn't see a lot of it about, and I thought, hey, it's an opportunity. I might have kind of got ahead of the curve. I could be in there nice and early, and this could be really good. So I guess in a way, I threw all the learning out the window and went a bit of a different route. And I think, as I told you, there was no data on it in the UK, which again is another red flag, of course. And I looked to the US for the data where the product was doing really, really well. But with no data over here, I knew I was going to be taking a risk because yes, it's doing well in the US, but it doesn't mean it's going to do well over here. But something in me just told me to do it and go for it, and it was interesting, different, and that's what I did. And also, I saw an opportunity to differentiate, to add something to it that no one else was doing. And I thought that could make the difference and could really make it stand out from everyone else. And like lots of people say, it is actually hard to differentiate and find something. Yet I found something that I thought was really obvious and easy to do, and I felt happier because I'd actually at least ticked that box that I've differentiated in some way or added value in some way. So then I got did I even get a sample of that? Oh yes, I did. I did get a sample of it.
I hope you did, Paul.
Yeah, I did. So I got a sample of it, and I thought it was great, and I really liked it. And I couldn't, I thought this is the one. So by the 20th of April, I've got it written down here. So a month later, I'd ordered my first order of that product.
Yeah.
And I had my first organic sale on the 20th of May. So it's kind of gone month by month. So February bought the course, March bought samples, April first order, May first sort of organic sale. And it didn't go very well.
Oh, really?
No, it didn't. It sold next to nothing. And I was really worried. And I think I followed the course of the PPC, and I thought I was doing it all sort of right with the PPC in terms of sponsored products, keywords, looking at it all the time, changing, tweaking. Just didn't seem to sell. And I remember after a couple of weeks reaching out to you and saying, I'm getting this many impressions. Is this about right, or am I way off here? And knowing what I know now, I was miles off, and there was just hardly any impressions. No one was sort of looking at it. No one was finding it. It wasn't being found. And I thought, I've messed this right up, and my first product's going to be an absolute disaster. But I'd also seen other people on YouTube and stuff that said, look, 1 or 2 or 3 of your products may not work. And your first one could be the one that doesn't work, but you just got to keep going at it.
Exactly.
And keep trying, and one of them's going to stick. So at that stage, I was starting to sort of panic, and that forced me. I never wanted to go as kind of quick as I've gone. It kind of forced my hand, really. I thought, I've got to go back to Janson's course, learn it all again, follow it to the letter, and get a second product. Otherwise, this is going to be so embarrassing and going to be such a disaster, and I've wasted loads of money and whatever else. So I quickly got on to my second product, followed your course to the letter, and that product worked really well. I was selling it quickly,
I'm
and
pleased to hear that.
the PPC was working, and I was kind of kicking myself a little bit, really thinking. But at the same time, as I had that waiting time for that product, I thought, I can't just let this one sit there. I've got 500 units sitting there. I've got to do. There's got to be a way. I've got to do something. So that's when I turned to social media and influencers and what else, which again I thought I would do in the longer term, but again it forced my hand again, and I had to sort of throw everything at that and see if I could make it stick in a different way and do some kind of other kind of advertising and make it work. And that's what turned it around. I tried different things, lots of different things, and kind of a combination of everything really got it kind of moving. And basically it was about people just didn't really know it really existed, or
so they weren't searching for it.
Yeah, quite good it was. And that sort of turned it around. And but even then it was still quite a rocky road until sort of maybe the middle of last year. It was still like not great. It was sort of okay. And I thought, well, okay, if it only does this a month, then that's fine. I'll add other products later on and we'll make it work. And then something just clicked. I think growing of the Facebook and Instagram accounts, and they were sort of gaining traction and more followers and more people using more influencers, getting more skilled at that, because that does take quite a lot of practice and learning to be able to know when an influencer is going to be good or not good, and getting them to give you what you need. And there's a lot you got to get through to get to the good stuff, and then you'll be surprised, and then suddenly it'll hit really well, and it just has that effect, and then it starts compounding. I think I said it in the course that you do all these little things, and then they do compound over time.
It all adds up,
yeah, this kind of stuff. Yeah.
So is the demand on Amazon now for this, or are you still relying on social media influencers and things like that? Like, is it resulted?
No, strangely not really. It's all still coming from. There's not a lot of demand. I mean, I haven't used PPC on Amazon for this product.
Really, because there's just no one searching for it.
I just turned it off, yeah, because it's just a waste of time, and no one was sort of searching for it and finding it. I haven't used it probably since July, maybe August.
Really? So you've got really healthy margins. And then are you regularly using influencers, or is it kind of running itself now?
No, it's running itself, but you say I've got healthy margins, but I'm spending a lot on. I'm spending the equivalent that I already spent on Amazon on Instagram.
Oh, are you on Instagram ads or influencers?
Instagram ads, yeah.
Are you? Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I used influencers in the early days. What I found with influencers is I was using micro influencers rather than the larger influencers. So they typically I would look for someone with like between 5,000 and 10,000 followers, or even smaller, but also look at kind of what their view rate was and like rate was. And I stayed away from the bigger ones, because the big ones want you to pay them, and they want
money, don't they?
Yeah, and it can become really expensive. Whereas the micros, it's nothing. Just send them the product, tell them what you're looking for, and sometimes you hit a really sweet spot, and you might get a good spike. But that's what happens. I found is you get spikes, up and down with the influence. It's not consistent, and you've got to keep working at it. But I got to a point, as long as I sold 2 or 3 off every influencer, I was break even. And if I sold more, it was good. So it kind of does work.
Yeah, that's great. And are you still targeting these influencers, or are you kind of relying more now on Instagram ads?
Yeah, Instagram ads, and my account is sort of well over 1,000 followers now, so I've got a little bit of a following. And
is it? Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so I have to post sort of 2 or 3 times a week, and try and keep them engaged. And I use that for launching and things like that. And it's okay. It's not amazing. It really isn't amazing. And I wouldn't recommend it as go and do this, because it's
your primary source. It's good for ancillary for sure, and also, if you decide to ever launch products that are kind of similar, or certainly with the same brand, you can use that following that you've got to kind of give you an immediate boost, on Amazon. So you can say, we're launching this new product. Everyone that buys it, we'll give you a rebate or whatever, or can you review it? It definitely will give you a massive advantage. But I agree. Yeah, it's probably more of an ancillary thing, whereas the focus.
I think also, just to try and help if someone does want to go down that road, I think if I got an agency in, or a bit of an expert in to look at it and manage it and do it, I think I'd have much better results. I mean, I'm limited to my skill in marketing and my time as well. And I did use an agency just in the very, very early days to try and get me set up and show me a little bit about it, and and what have you. But I got them so cheap, and I was so demanding that they couldn't do what I wanted, and I wouldn't. I was getting
really?
they could deliver, and it wasn't their fault. It was sort of why, you know, and that's why I got them so cheap. So I know that it probably is really quite expensive to have a proper marketing agency do it properly. And future maybe.
I hired somebody to do it from the Philippines, which I'm happy to share their details if you want. And they basically did Instagram, Reels, daily posts, etc. It was George that actually recommended them to me, and they cost $100, I think, for the month, which I think is okay because they post once a day, they create the content as well, and they just manage it, and they also comment on other people's accounts, so that you start to get your follower count up. So, you know, it's all good stuff that kind of, like you say, it's snowball, and it's not going to make you go from, 10 sales to 100 sales, but it's increasing it day by day, even if it's a couple of percentage points. So that's really, really helpful color. What I think a lot of people watching will probably also want to know is like the methods that you follow to kind of find your products. So how many products do you have now? 4, which is amazing considering that you've only been selling, 10 months or something, maybe just a bit under that. So, 9 or 10 months and you've got 4 products. Is there a secret source that you're following in order to find these? Like how are you doing it?
Well, I probably should start off by saying that one of them is, I guess, a failed product. So I have learned some real lessons there. Another one is kind of an okay product. It's doing okay. And then the other 2 are doing great. So it kind of goes to show that it's not all sweetness and light, and they're not all, and the 4th product really sits nicely with the brand, and then it should, and it kind of, I think it should be there, but it's not really generating, it's a break-even product really, to be honest with you. And there's reasons why that came out and lessons I learned from that, trying to.
But it's also probably one that you could, potentially grow, because I have some of those as well. They're kind of like plodder products where I have them because they suit the brand and they're kind of needed to complete the set. But definitely, if at the end of the day, if customers are purchasing and if you're getting good reviews, it shows that there's a proof of concept there, and there's potential. But I agree. You've got to focus your efforts on the products with the higher margins and return on investment. But with that said, it's still amazing that you have found 4. So regardless of whether they were breaking even, which I wouldn't consider a failure at all, really, it's still selling, or the big ones. Was there a particular route that you followed? Was it in the course that you found the way to source these products?
For me, I kind of tried just doing it by kind of the sort of arbitrary way of numbers and the sort of methods that are taught, and I was able to find products. I think I said to you, I was able to find 10 or 15 products reasonably quickly, and that all kind of stacked up. But I didn't feel anything for them, and I thought to myself, well, I'm not interested in this product, and it doesn't sort of suit my personality. And I kind of thought, I think it's really important that, easier said than done, I know, but find something that you're interested in, and I think you'll work a lot harder to make it work, if that makes sense. And that's certainly what I found. And also, so kind of the route I went down really was, this is what my brand is, which obviously helps as well. If you know what your brand is to start with, or the niche you're going into, then you've got a pretty good chance of finding products that are going to suit your brand as well. And that kind of puts you in a direction anyway. I know that can be seen as maybe limiting as well. But when I created my brand, I made it quite open, and it could go in multiple directions if I needed to. And that's kind of what's kind of happened, which just kind of took me to a bit of a crossroads where I really do need to probably decide which niche I'm going to niche down into, and just
which way to go into.
Otherwise, it's going to become confusing as it gets bigger. People will be like, "Well, are you this or are you that? What exactly are you?" So I need to probably do that. But in terms of the actual search method, the way I look at it is, one, does it fit in the brand? So that's the main thing. 2, obviously the numbers stack up, with the main criteria for me being the demand. Is the demand there? Because that's what the mistake I made on the first product. Demand just wasn't there, and that just makes it painful and so much more work and so much harder and all this kind of stuff. But I learned loads from it, so I take it as a benefit. But I wouldn't want everyone else to have to go down that path, particularly, and make life harder than it needs to be. When the second product proved that if you follow the course and you follow those kind of guidelines, then you absolutely can find a product that works, and that's what I've done. But even then, I still probably entered a niche that was quite saturated and quite challenged. And there were some people up there, some top sellers up there. I still had to fight my way to get in there.
Yeah.
But what I kind of also talk about in one of my posts, which is part of my product research, is understanding how am I going to market it and how am I going to stand out, not just in differentiation, but what am I going to do differently to make it stand out as well, in terms of what's my marketing approach going to be and how is it going to get me on the first page and be better than the others. Because maybe sometimes not always keywords, and just product sponsored products is not necessarily the quickest and easiest way, I think, to get to the top, unless you've really differentiated and you've really got something special, which I didn't have. It's quite a standard product, and I've differentiated a little bit, improved it on the negative reviews, which is something I actually teach in the course, which I did use that process.
Oh, great. And is that been noticed by customers then in the reviews you've received? So you've not received?
Yeah. It's not a huge thing. I think it's part of it. And I think the different things that you teach in the course, if you apply them all, they all make all the bits of the jigsaw puzzle that actually make it a better product. It's not just one thing. It's how you market it, how you do PPC, how you differentiate, how you stand out a little bit, what you change in negative, positive reviews. They all kind of add up to something that's reasonable. So as a direct sort of product research technique, mine is more about, do I like the product? Is it interesting to me? Would I put my heart and soul into that and make that work no matter what? And then find little ways that all compound to make it work. Yeah.
That's great. So what are your kind of, because as I said earlier on, you did a really good post when you kind of hit 10K and 100K with, some of your tips. Are there any, with respect to product research, that you kind of, would say are really important that people follow? So, I kind of, just looking at some of them now, you're talking about differentiation, which you just mentioned, it should be all encompassing, not just on the product itself. But what about sort of the saturation point, where you've said here, focus less on whether a niche is saturated and more on how you can achieve the same success as the others. So how did you kind of do that, or what would you have to say to that?
Okay. Well, on that point, I probably should caveat it and say you can go too far down that line, and I did, and that's where my first product failed. Not failed, but hasn't done particularly well. I went into a market where I thought, I've got this brand now. It's going to be easy. Everyone, people know my brand. I'm going to be able to walk into this market and do really well. And I didn't leave myself enough room for PPC or significant PPC to compete in this market. And that's been sort of the problem. So I want to just say that yes, you can enter a market that's saturated, because I think pretty much everywhere is saturated if you want to, and if you look at it. To a point anyway, but then there's some
most industries are, right, or business ideas. There's always going to be somebody, unless you're an inventor and it's a completely new idea. But I always say, use the example of like Tesla. Like the car industry, manufacturing industry was saturated 10 years ago, but they came and offered something different, and that's how they managed to differentiate and stand out in a crowded market.
But I think you can overdo it like I did on that product, and I regret, if I could change it, I wouldn't have done that. I think I just got, I don't want to say complacent, but maybe a bit overconfident even, I don't know, and thought it would be I'd just be able to do it, and that's the thing with the product, like you said before, it's kind of 4.5, 4.6 stars. It's a good product, it's good reviews. I just can't get anywhere near the front page without spending a ridiculous amount on PPC, and there's such a small margin for PPC, which again is, I think, a really important thing to make sure you leave yourself enough room for PPC, because it is really important, and it is a necessary thing that has to be done.
A lot of people just forget to include it. But that said, my view is that PPC it's like a necessary evil, isn't it? Which does take some of your lovely profits away from you. But it's kind of like a balancing game of finding the right keywords that don't cost as much, and using the profit from those to plow into other ones. But without a doubt, PPC is definitely can be a bit of a minefield. But one thing that you did right in your 100K summary, which I think I'll just kind of repeat back to you when you talk about your first product being a failure, is that you said just take action and don't waste too much time trying to find that first product. You'll learn 10 times more by just getting on with it. Like, would you agree with that? I mean, you will have learned so much more than any course or mentor could teach you. It's like learning by doing, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I totally stand by that. Yes, you've got to have the foundation, which your course gives you, and a great reference point and everything else like that. But there is so much more to learn and that you can only learn through experience. And I think that's the same in any career, in any job as well. It's that, isn't it? You can go and do a degree in X, Y, and Z, but until you physically start working and getting that experience, it's only worth so much. And it's definitely the case with Amazon FBA, in particular, learning your way around Amazon, Seller Central, and all the stuff that comes from that. And I see it in the course over and over again. And I kind of just want to say that everything you see in the course and people pulling their hair out and struggling, I think we all go through that, and it is the same for all of us. And
yeah,
that is part of it. But you get through it, and it does get easier. And it's almost like you've got to earn your stripes in a way. You've got to have struggled with brand registry. You've got to struggle with even setting up a bank account, and then it all just does sort of start to add up and get easier.
Clicks, isn't it? I actually I was doing a call with somebody yesterday, and I was trying to explain the benefit of like doing it in a course and a mentor. And I was like, it's a bit like getting on a really long journey you've never been on before. Like getting there is not a challenge, but knowing the way and the shortcuts and stuff like that is, and that's what the guidance can give to you. And once you've done that journey, once you've traveled it and you know the way, then it all clicks into place, and you're just like, well, yeah, I know what to do now, and I know what to do if this happens and that happens. And that's kind of how I see Amazon FBA, a very, very long journey.
But like we say, the key is just taking action. It's so obvious, but it's such a hard thing to do as well. It really is. And like my partner said to me, when I first kind of got it going, I guess people, when you first tell them, not necessarily my partner, because she's always been really supportive, but they think, really, what's that about? I don't even see how it works. In China, and you get 500 units. How many units? What?
Yeah,
this sounds like bonkers. And then if you were to try and think about that too much, you just wouldn't do it. No, who would? It sounds ridiculous, and put all that risk and everything else. And is it even real? It's such a hard thing to kind of accept. To then take the action, that is the hardest thing, but it's the thing you've got to do to
absolutely. And once you do it, you get the bug. So what's the plan for the year ahead, Paul, in terms of product expansion, geographical, etc.? What have you got your eyes set on?
The three main things are going into Europe, which I've been working on since probably October, November. I'm getting registered to sell in Germany, which is the next biggest market. That's taken quite a while because of Brexit. People working from home. The German tax authorities are taking quite a while to turn that around. So I'm still waiting for that, but I'm hoping it's going to be any day. And then my partner, who's got an A-level in German, she's been converting everything for us and getting our listings ready. And so we're going to be ready. I've been dealing with the compliance side, packaging and having a fiscal representative and the other things that you have to do to sell in Germany. So other than ordering a product, we're kind of hopefully ready to go, or certainly will be. And trying to work out what our angle is going to be and what our edge is going to be over there, because obviously it's the German market and we're English or British. So there's new challenges there that I've got.
Absolutely.
How am I going to stand out there? But so working on that, and I've got ideas of how we can do that. And so that's one aspect. Another aspect I'm doing, which again is kind of part of the bigger plan, and is I've since sort of set up a Shopify and I'm trying to build that out, selling products on there, under the brand and stuff, trying to grow that. So, I've learned that these big sellers want to see that you can sell on other channels as well, and they want to see there's opportunity for growth and whatever else. So that's the second part. And then the third part is scaling. I want to scale significantly this year. And I've got samples sort of landing already, so that process is in place. So grow, move into other markets and on other channels. So we're on eBay as well, and really trying to just grow it in different directions.
So what's kind of been the highlight so far? Because I know that this, the last year you've had numerous highs and lows, but what's been the real standout point of the year?
Do you know what? It's going to sound a bit lame, but proof of concept that it works and it's real and you can actually do it.
Great.
And you can hit some really good targets, and the belief that I think it can just be scaled. It could the sky's the limit, and also bringing my partner into it. I think that's fantastic as well, and it's given us another dimension and it's allowing us to grow, and it's a great work environment.
That definitely resonates with me. Are you Is she like is in love with Amazon FBA as you are, or is it kind of just not out of choice? It's because she's got a German A level.
No, I think she has a genuine interest for it, and she's enjoying it, and yeah, I think so anyway. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the same with me. My wife, so she does the listing company with me. She writes the listings now, and at first she was just like, "Why am I doing this?" But now, I hope that she actually does enjoy it. She seems to do it with a bit more of a smile on her face, especially when it's one from you, Paul. So, but yeah, that's great. I do agree with that. The proof of concept is like completely, changes the perspective of how it all works and your confidence and all that stuff.
Definitely.
So before we open the floor up to the people watching, you kind of have hit on this a few times throughout, but I'll just ask you kind of explicitly, what do you think is be one of the key determinants of your success?
I guess it's just determination, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Determination, having targets that I absolutely say to myself, that has to be hit, even if it's like small. I set every target I set begins with a number 1. So
Right.
it would be for one sale, first sale, it would be 10 sales, 10 reviews, 100 reviews, £1,000 £1,000 a month, or £1,000 in revenue. So everything begins with a 1, and then obviously 100K was up there as well, and the millions in the future. And setting those sort of targets to be hit, and every time you hit them, I'm not necessarily set dates on them, but every time you hit one, it's a tick, and it's a real confidence boost, and again shows you what you're doing is right, and it really focuses the mind, and that's been what I've used, and I've even got my sort of partner looking at them as well and saying, "Oh, we've just hit this one, and it's let's have a little drink on that and celebrate that."
Yeah.
To the next one, so breaking it down into small kind of targets, working towards them, working out how you're going to get to those targets, and it's amazing how the brain almost does it for you to a certain way. Gets you to do it.
It's an elegant way of saying that. Great. No, that's really, really good. For some reason, my StreamYard isn't giving me the latest questions, so I'm going to be looking at my phone because I can see people are posting questions, but they're just not coming through. The only one that has come through is from Diogo. Sorry if I've mispronounced your name there. When you said demand was not there for your first product, how many searches per month did your keywords have that you thought was enough launch? So yeah, did you look up the relevant keywords to see if there was demand there, or?
So he's saying that when I actually launched it, what is he asking? Sort of how many impressions I was getting?
No, so I think what he's saying is because you didn't have, you said the product didn't really exist on Amazon already. You probably couldn't run Helium 10 to get the search, sales data. So he's saying, did you instead look at kind of searches for your main keyword to see, 1,000 people are searching for this type of product, but it's just not available? Was there any data crunching that you did rather than just jumping straight in and going?
Okay. No, so because the data on Helium 10 for this in this particular market is just not there. So I used the US, and I looked at Germany as well, where it is there, and use their data to form my sort of opinion on whether I thought it was a good product or not, which I probably shouldn't be saying, and definitely wouldn't recommend. Not maybe 10 products in, and you're confident, but I certainly wouldn't recommend it as a method of doing it. Why I did it now, I still don't know really. I just fell in love with the product, thought it was good, and the numbers in the US were just outstanding, and I thought, well, if I can even do a quarter of that, then even a tenth of that, even, it would be brilliant. But just made it very difficult for myself, to be honest with you, and kind of just the determination got me through it, but a bit of luck as well.
But I also think, just kind of going back to Diego's point, even if you found that the keyword volume was 300 or 400, that's, I think, still pretty meaningful when you consider that the product's not available on Amazon at all, because that's 300 people searching for a product that are looking to buy it. So if you're the only one on there, you're not splitting those sales across anybody else. It's just you getting, offering the product to those people. So it's something to give you confidence. But yeah, generally I'd say what Paul did there is right. So checking Amazon US, India, Japan, the other markets, and just seeing if the product exists, what the reviews look like, and what the demand looks like. So yeah, cool. So next question is from Dylan, and he says, what would be the best product research methods to start out looking for products, or the ones that you found work best for you? So we did touch on this briefly, but were there any particular product idea generation methods that you kind of preferred over others, that you found were more reliable?
I think first I think personally, I think you've got to have some sort of interest in it. I don't understand people that can just use a number system and come up with the most obscure thing and want to go and sell that. And I just don't. I know people do it and they're successful at it. I just don't understand that. And if you want to build a brand, you have to have some idea of what route you're going down and what niche you're kind of going into. So that is the starting point, which then puts you in a direction. And then from there, then I guess the next thing is, do the numbers stack up? How much am I looking to make a month from this product? What's my revenue numbers? And all this is taught on the course. And is there enough margin in there to deal with PPC as well? So that's kind of my next check. And my third one is kind of looking at the competition, looking at the top 5 sellers, what they're doing, how they're doing, why are they doing what they're doing, and seeing if I can kind of emulate that and or improve on that. But also looking do I feel there's enough space in that on page 1 for me to be able to even get there? Is it full of people with thousands of reviews, some big brands? And I just don't think I'm going to be able to compete or be able to have the PPC budget to even get close to it. And those 3 kind of things, and obviously I didn't mention it, but I guess it comes on the general thing, is demand. Is the demand is there? Those 3 or 4 things there, I think are key. Because I just, it just didn't work for me. I mean, I know it works for some people, just to pump a load of stuff into helium-10 and whatever it spits out, start looking at those, and whether it's really random things that I've got no interest in or no sort of knowledge of. I think it's key to just be interested in the product and want and have passion for that product as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'll show, won't it, in the output of your work. If you're passionate about the product, I mean, that doesn't really apply to me because my first product is a women's beauty product, but I was still passionate about making it as attractive for my customer as possible. But yeah, definitely having an interest in the product itself is going to be hugely beneficial. We're starting to get some good questions filtering through now. Joe said, were you selling on, did you say you were selling on eBay or just Shopify?
On both now, yeah.
You are? Okay, yeah, great. So Joe said, are you sending eBay products out yourself, or do you have somebody else fulfilling it?
No, I'm doing it myself, because I don't know what other people's experiences, but eBay and Shopify, it's hard. It's hard to gain any traction on them. And I've been doing them. I haven't been doing them long, but it is hard, and it certainly isn't at a level where I need to be paying someone else to do it. If I can't fulfill the odd order here and there myself, then there's something right. So, what I like about
who do you post with?
Probably not the best. Royal Mail is probably not the best, but I like the fact you can just do it online. You can print out these professional looking things. I know you can do it with others, but I just use them, and it's probably not the best, most cost effective. But for me, to nip around the post office, hand it over, and get a proof of postage and walk out, that suits me.
So recently I've started to make use of Google Ads. I just have like a £3 a day budget, and some days I have 3 or 4 sales, some of which are for multiple quantities. So I've had some people spend like £100 before, so that's really worthwhile. So definitely look at that, just kind of honing in on your keyword. It's a bit different to Instagram, where you're marketing to a cold audience that it's kind of interest based, whereas Google, you're targeting people that are searching for it. So that's one tip. And then I know you said you like the convenience of Raw Mail, but check out Yodel. They're £2.20 for a parcel up to 2 kilos, which is amazing. So when I'm selling 6-7 units, £2.20, it beats Amazon hands down. And that's label printing as well. You just print it out, and there's a newsagent down the road from me. The label looks professional, but not when it says from so-and-so newsagent. So I kind of make sure that's extra small. Okay.
I'll say that though, but the Shopify is good because you're not paying the Amazon fee. You're not paying the 15.3% or whatever, So your margins are much better. eBay is not so good because you're obviously paying a margin.
You're still paying it, aren't you? Yeah. Do you find eBay better than Shopify because you're not, having to advertise there? But do you get enough demand off eBay? Would you
They both
recommend it?
did, interestingly, over December, because I launched them both in December. Shopify, the website that I've created, and eBay, and they both did about 500 in revenue in December with pretty much no marketing really. But Shopify a bit more marketing. I was marketing Shopify on Instagram and Facebook. eBay no marketing at all, and they probably did both about the same. But because of the fees with eBay, the Shopify was probably a little bit better.
Yeah, well, that's a
But they
great
do.
tip then.
Sorry.
That's a great tip then. Yeah, to kind of get both on the go. I didn't realize there was much demand on eBay.
Yeah, I mean it's not a huge amount, but I've just recently started using their PPC, so I'm going to try that for a month and see how that sits. So I think I've gone for the basic 9.5% of the product sale price, only if you sell it, which actually still works out about the same or maybe a little bit better than Amazon. But
Yeah,
but if people aren't buying it, then I'm not buying it. But
yeah,
but like I said, they sell enough and they make a little bit of money. They might pay my shopkeeper bill or they might pay my PDM10 bill. So it's kind of worth it, you know. But obviously, I want them to grow. I would like the Shopify to kind of end up being 20% of the annual sales eventually in like 2 or 3 years' time.
yeah.
But I got to work on, like you just said, SEO, start using Google Ads, things like that, getting it more seen and stuff.
Yeah, there's
And that
so
might
many
be
different levers.
a top tip. I set up a website right at the start, and I wasted lots of money on that. And I did it. I didn't do it through Shopify. I did it through a normal sort of typical website means, and it was a waste of money. And I wouldn't recommend it. I would sort of wait until you're much more established and that's what you want to do before you go down that route. That's my sort of tip on that. Really, I tried. I think I went at everything with everything, and so to see what stuck. But I think you can waste quite a bit of money doing that.
Good
and
tactic.
time and effort. Yeah.
So are you did I hear you correctly? You're using Shopkeeper?
Yes, yeah.
And have you got the notifications on your phone and it does the little cha-ching, or have you managed to wean yourself off it?
I have. I know I kind of joked in a post about looking at the Amazon 2,000 times a day, but yeah, I have weaned myself off it now. Yeah, but I do have it on when I'm working in the day.
Do you? And then you do a little dance when you hear it.
Something like that. But it got a bit annoying because Q4 was great and it was just going off constantly. So I had to.
Oh yeah, that's a nice problem to have, isn't it? Oh bloody hell, another sale. Shut up, will you?
Yeah, good,
actually I'm a recovered addict, so I actually only check it now first thing when I wake up. I get up, it could spoil my day. I look at it, I'm like, that's yesterday's profit. I'm not going to look again. So
really,
you'll get there one day, mate.
I'm definitely not there yet. No.
Cool. So we've got a few more questions. So guys, we're just coming up. Well, we've just slightly over our allocated time, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to post them in, and we'll quickly run through them. So next question is from Sam. Do you have a strategy once you pass the VAT threshold? I presume you have passed that now.
Yeah. Yeah, I passed it a while back. I kind of sailed through it in Q4, but it's taken quite a long time to get it sorted and registered. So I actually start on Tuesday next week. So yeah, I mean, I've looked at it. Obviously, of course, no one wants it, and it is going to hit profits. But I think as long as you are aware of everything you can claim and you're absolutely on it with your record keeping, and you've got a decent accountant and stuff that's that way thinking as well, I think you can mitigate quite an amount of it. And the good thing is I've got the Amazon fees to come back, and I've got some startup costs and things like that. So I like to think the first sort of submission will be a plus, not negative.
It should be. Maybe it will.
Yeah, maybe even the first two, and then after that, yeah, I'm going to increase my prices a little bit. But the good thing as well is that as your kind of listings kind of mature and you get more reviews, you can obviously start increasing your price, and that's something I've started to do. And when you go through a Q4 and you've got a good product and it's doing really well, and you end up increasing your price because there's so much demand, you can kind of keep it at that. You feel like, and you suddenly get more reviews. You can kind of keep it at that level as you tick into Q1 and Q2 is what I found. Yeah. So my products are now where I want them to be price wise, and I maybe can slowly creep them up as I become more kind of like have more social proof.
Yeah, but the long and short of it is VAT sucks. But you've got to use the things that you just said there to mitigate it, and try and not let it completely spoil the fun. Okay, so
the way I see it, everyone else in the same boat. Every other business is in the same boat. It is the way it is. And if you're in it for the to run it as a proper business, then unfortunately that is part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so final question from Shally, also in the 10K club. So Shally is saying, do you know roughly like your profit margins like pre PPC?
Or after PPC?
Or no, before, or you
sorry,
can answer
before.
both. Yeah, if you know, just something to target, I guess.
Yeah, so before PPC, for some of the products, or one of the products is sort of at the 50% mark before PPC. But my general PPC after everything, not tax, but after, is about 20%. My general profit margin, sorry, not my PPC. It's about 20%. And then obviously when VAT started kicking in, and it's probably going to be nearer 15%, I'd say, something along those lines. I don't know exactly, but my kind of rough estimate.
It will lower it ever so slightly, yeah. But still, that's really, really good. 15-20% after everything. That's, you know, within the profit calculator in the course. That's something where I say that's a good kind of area to target. So very well done. And that 50% one is making me incredibly jealous. I wish I could find something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, the PPC is quite steep on it, so it's quite depressing when the PPC comes up.
Okay, Paul. So thank you very, very much for spending your Sunday evening with me. I'm sure you were thinking I've got much better things to do, but it's truly appreciated. It's been amazing to, you know, get to learn more about you and your journey and the tips and tricks. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from you over the coming months, how your expansion into Germany goes, your additional product launches go. And I've no doubt that, you know, we'll be speaking again when you crack through that £1 million mark. I know you're furiously chasing me in terms of new products, so I don't think it'll be much time at all. But yeah, thank you everyone else as well for joining on your Sunday evenings. It's been another killer session, and yeah, I will end the session there. Have a great week, guys. If you have any questions, concerns about anything to do with Amazon FBA, as always, please do feel free to reach out. So that's it, guys. Enjoy your evening and your weeks, and I'll see you next time.